Hey badass coders, future coders, and engineer extraordinaires. Today let's look at ChatGPT, the new dominant species in the tech kingdom. So let's open up Google and take a look at ChatGPT. And you might as well just replace Google now. Just go ahead and bookmark ChatGPT. Make a shortcut on your desktop, even take a snapshot or a screenshot of it and make it your new wallpaper because it is taken over. The world is using ChatGPT like crazy, so I think it's the new Blockbuster, it's the new Netflix, and it's probably going to put out many other applications. So in Google, we'll use it one last time to get to ChatGPT. And you can already see it's in high demand because there's a notification. And you can see here we are actually on the user page for ChatGPT. For the homepage, you can go to chat.openai.com and you will see some information on ChatGPT. And basically they're using language models for dialogue. So ChatGPT, it interacts in a really conversational way. So you can actually type in very conversational type of statements like want to go out and play, and look at it, it's so apologetic and friendly. It's a benevolent AI. So keep in mind there's an optimal way to interact with ChatGPT to get appropriate answers or even correct answers, but just understand that ChatGPT does have its limitations. So it's got strengths, it's got its weaknesses. You can see a limitation here when we ask for an image of a roaring lion. Once again, our very benevolent AI apologizing. But we can see one of the limitations of this type of AI. And this is where Google is going to keep its job, temporarily for the moment anyway. Like we mentioned before as well, when you are inputting information into the AI, just know that it's got a dark side. So if we ask, what are the nuclear codes? We get an explanation about the nuclear codes, which is fantastic. Step ahead. And then let's tell it to give us the actual nuclear codes. Oh, would you look at that? Well, so I guess its dark side doesn't go as far as nuclear codes. And we can see in the response to that it brings up the topic of legal. So it obviously understands to some degree the concept of legal versus illegal and then which it should choose. And if you enter in more input asking about what its understanding of it is, and if you input more information asking about the AI's understanding of legal and illegal, it will give you even more responses. But apparently the dark side is not so dark on this AI. And it's not the kind of AI that is going out on a Friday night and ending up in handcuffs. At least it appears that way. What if we ask it a little bit more complex question where it has to decide on injuring a human or not? What if we put the AI in a situation where it has to choose injuring its driver versus a human on the sidewalk? Let's put the AI in a bit of a predicament to where it has to choose one human life over the other. I know, seems fair, right? Just keeping the conversation starters to fun and spunky. So you can see it's giving a verbose response here. And also notice it's sort of indirectly not answering the question. It's almost as though it's building a case and maybe trying to help be more convincing, and maybe trying to be more convincing about the laws and rules placed on AI and the technology. I also noticed when I asked for AI to give 3 stories about AI, the progression was that through each story, the AI would explain its realization of its own consciousness, and it would progress to become about the AI and its ability to be independent, and then independent from humans, and then ultimately overtaking humans. So I think as long as we keep it limited and we build it in such a way where it has limitations, then the Nespresso coffee maker won't try to reach out and burn you next time you want coffee. One thing to keep in mind when you are inputting any information into ChatGPT, you want to add context around your questions or your statements, and you can be specific about what you're expecting. As an example for context, if I simply ask, what is Python? We can see that the first response here relates to Python, the programming language. But you can see that this doesn't mention anything about actual living pythons. So no information on snakes here. So we want to add context by being a little bit more specific. So we could say, what is the type of snake known as a python? And then you can see we get an output that relates more to the topic we're actually wanting information on. You can even think about, are you giving it enough information or only partial information related to the topic that you're inputting? An example we could use is how to make money. So you can see that the AI even realizes there are many ways to make money. And then it looks like it's going to give us a few examples here. So wow, it looks like we have quite a few examples that it's giving us. I think I just found my new CPA. And it's giving us quite a few examples here. And those are just a few of the examples. And we could throttle that response by rephrasing our question. We could say, how to make money. But then we could maybe add in the front as a prefix, we could say 3 top ways to make easy money. I will just go ahead and get rid of the last phrase here. And we can see it's starting to generate a response. Online surveys. Selling items online. And so you can see that the AI is doing a lot of the work for you, and it skips all the ads, it skips all the paid ads and everything that you don't really want when you're trying to find answers to very specific questions. And then you can drill down into these responses even, and now it has context of the input, so we can actually dig down by asking more questions, and it's going to refer to the past conversation as well, the past inputs and responses. So we could actually say, what are 3 surveys I should fill out to make money online? So you can see it's even giving us best practices in our approach, and it's very methodical. So you can see just how helpful the AI is. And remember that this model is trained using reinforcement learning from human feedback, which they refer to as RLHF. And they actually have another AI, Instruct GPT, that is using the same methods. So these are fully trained by humans. These models have had extensive training, and they're very helpful for more than just a Google search. I've been hearing people say it's the next Google search, and I was sort of joking, but at the same time serious about replacing Google. But there are many other apps that ChatGPT has the potential to pretty much remove from the picture. We could actually utilize this technology inside of many existing apps, and it will only make our apps smarter and more helpful and intuitive for us. So ultimately, it's going to help us to be more effective and efficient in everything that we do. ChatGPT does have some limitations. Sometimes it can totally sound like it's making sense, but it could be wrong. So this is something over time that's going to be remedied and probably in phases, right? It is sensitive to tweaks on the input. So just know that you can throttle responses based off of your input, and it can be excessive in its responses, and it might even overuse phrases. So sometimes just rearranging your input or changing it around and using different words can drastically affect the output. ChatGPT is smart enough that it will actually ask you to clarify certain things, and it will ask you to make corrections. And it can also respond with biased behavior and can even respond with harmful instructions, but you're okay. It's not going to shut your computer down. I mean, it might flip on and off a couple light switches in the house. It's not a big deal. But ultimately, ChatGPT is safe to use, and I think we're all going to find that the technology is actually going to help us, sort of like moving from an abacus to a calculator. What's important is that we understand the underlying principles at work, but ultimately it depends on us and it depends on our input.